Russia is a very, very strong country. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. You know what is going on online. You know the president, our president, is better than some of you presidents. I'm so sorry. You can't compare our president, President Putin, to Babati. What's that? Shemo Batidi. You being a foreigner in this country, whether you are Asian or you are African, they do not care. They just want to know. What? Oh, you're Indian. Look at your hair. Why is your hair so long? Why do you sense this way? Study. If you go to a rural city like my own city, you might get some stares. I don't think people stare at me that much. Maybe at work, but because of my hair, they stare at me. As you can see at my background, you can see stares. So it happens. As you can see at your back, you have to turn back to side. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Ogechi Amanda, and today we're going to speak about a very, very controversial and sensitive topic about racism in Russia. Racism in Russia. Let's talk about it, okay? So, as we all know, there have been a lot of speculations online, opinions about this issue, and there are people who say, okay, Russia is deeply racist, and there are people who feel like it's just a propaganda, like it's a lie, or it's not real, or it is actually exaggerated that there's racism in Russia. So we're gonna speak about it, broad topic, different opinions, and let's begin. So let's start. So first of all, I would like to share my honest experience. In my previous videos, I've shared my experience about living in Russia and issues I have been through, or even the racism experiences I've had so far in my previous videos. Okay, you can check it out. If you're new here, welcome to Ogechi Amanda YouTube channel, and stay tuned, my caramels. Okay, so now first of all, let's talk about the fact that this topic is a very sensitive topic, and why it's important for us to discuss about it. We know that there are students from different African countries all over the world who would love to relocate to Russia and study or do work, other things for other purposes, right? So first of all, as someone who cares for like culture and global perspectives and fairness, I don't like when a country is actually labeled to one thing. And we all know that regarding the issue going on online, the political issue going on, Russia has actually been painted for a crazy country. It has a stigma that, oh, Russia is a bad place to be, we shouldn't relocate there, it is unsafe, blah blah blah. But today let's talk about the racism, which is the elephant in the room. Okay, so another thing is that when I hear that Russia is racist, and I asked compared to what, because I wonder in what context and at what time or period. Because personally, like I've shared previously, the fact that Russian, the mentality have actually evolved. Or like when I came here, when I relocated to this country, like 6 years ago, like I shared in the previous video, that the younger ones right now, they are open to black people, being friends with black people, marry black people and everything. So it's not bad like before, unlike the older ones, right? So now let's go to number two. Number two would be the historical reality. The historical reality is the fact that in the early 2000s, I did my research, so I'm going to share it to you guys, okay? In the early 2000s, Russia did experience violent nationalist movements, right? So there were attacks reported in cities like Moscow, St. Petersburg, and the fact that at the Manege Square, it was in 2010. it's actually made international headlines, and this part is very factual. You can do your research about this, because I did my homework in order to share with you guys. Okay. And but what is important is the fact that the what happened afterward, which is the fact that extremist groups were cracked down, and these extremist groups were actually cracked down, and the street violence decreased significantly over the years. Over time, street violence decreased over the years. In my previous video, I spoke to you guys for the fact that I have never experienced police brutality or any, maybe like a tourist group or a terrorist group, or let's say a gang issue, blah blah blah, in the city where I live. It's so safe. Like I said, life in different cities, different experience so far. So you could see other YouTubers who are living in bigger cities and other cities, and they share different things to you, because we are not the same persons. We live in different cities. My city, we are like no, we're less than five active YouTubers. You understand me? So there are other cities too, and their own experiences. So it could differ. It's actually different experience, different individuals. So now let's talk about the third point. The third point, Father, let's talk about what modern Russia looks like. Now, what comes in, the students coming in here to study, and people coming here to work, blah blah blah, right? Africans, black people, different continents, the Asians, different blacks in general, Asians, different citizens of different countries come here to like study, to work, and for other purposes too. Okay. So when we look at places like Red Square in Moscow, right? Today you see tourists, people come here, they troop in and out of Russia, they visit big cities like Moscow because of the Red Square they see on the internet, for the fact that it's a beautiful tourist site, or a tourist attraction site for them to do the sightseeing and experience Moscow for their own benefits. Okay. So, and there are also, African students, Asian students, which I mentioned already, and even Middle Eastern visitors who come here for tourism during the summer and during the winter. They even go to different cities like Sochi, St. Petersburg, Krasnodar. I think there is a what's it called again? There's a place I visited in Krasnodar. Krasnodar is very, very good. There's Krasnodar. Krasnodar is a Japanese temple. I'm gonna post the video. Is either I've posted it already, or I'm posting it after this video. Okay. So I'm making a video about it for you to show you guys a little bit of, traveling within Russia. Okay. And even traveling abroad. Like I told you guys, I traveled abroad not quite long, to a neighboring country here in Russia, to a neighboring country close to Russia. Sorry. So yeah, like I was saying, that doesn't mean that discrimination doesn't exist, because there are visitors. When you want visitors come into your space, you can be welcoming at the first call. It happens sometimes. We all know it happens in our day-to-day life, day-to-day, activity. Okay. And then let's speak about the fact that, so there's no, like, that doesn't mean that discrimination doesn't exist. That doesn't mean that racism doesn't exist. Of course, it exists in different, scenarios. It happens. People experience it. Some people that are very lucky, they'll stay throughout the whole stay in Russia, and they do not experience racism at all. So migrant workers from Asia, from Central Asia, actually face social prejudice. Okay. And also black foreigners sometimes experience, staring, or cultural curiosity. Some of them, they just want to, like I said so far, they're like, oh my God, I love your hair. Can I know, oh my God, what are you wearing? I'd like to make the hair you're wearing. Oh, why is your skin so dark? Why is your skin ashy during the winter? Blah, blah, blah. They're just curious out of curiosity. And sometimes they see online that, oh, Africa, all Africans are poor. If only they knew that they are actually wealthier. They're wealthy Africans, rich Africans from rich families. You get what I mean, right? I'm like, you never can tell. My family might be richer than you. It's not because I am black. You get me? So this is the thing, and so they're always curious because they see it online that oh, Africans are like hungry, they have nothing to do and everything. So it doesn't work that way because there are wealthy people too in Africa, right? So another thing I'm going to speak about is the fact that there are large cities are generally more diverse than rural areas. So the large cities are very, very diverse than, the rural areas. Like they are open-minded than rural areas because at the rural areas, there are people who are not exposed, they haven't traveled, they haven't seen blacks. Like in my city, there was a time there were few blacks. Right now, there are a lot of black people here, living here, working here, studying here. So that's just how it works, okay? So another thing is that, like I said, where you're relocating, depending on your own, the city you chose to work or study. If you go to a rural city like my own city, you might get some stares. I don't think my city people stare at me that much. Maybe at work, but because of my hair, they stare at me. As you can see at my background, we can see stares. So it happens. Yeah, I'm like, maybe. Baby's at my baby's at my right hand side. So come and say hi to my channel, please. Well, literally, they were looking at one home, maybe breaking. As you can see, at my back, yes, back to side eye. I'm gonna zoom there. Shit, they're dancing the black girl, the straight of front. Exactly, yay. Handsome period. So there's tears because of your hair. Of course, they probably have seen a lot of blacks in this city, but they're just like, okay, you have this hair color. Why is your hair dark? Why is it not black? Do you use our dye? Do you import your dye from your country? Oh my God, do you speak French? And they feel everybody speaks French, but no, we speak English too. Not everybody's le français. You get me? So that's the issue I even face as well. Maybe I want to share that in another video. So now let's go to the fourth one. The fourth one I'm going to speak about will be cultural differences. Like I said, I have done my own research, okay? So one thing that stands out for me is the cultural bluntness. Russia is not built around the Western political, correctness. These are the things the Western, countries, actually the country I'm talking about, I'm not going to mention the country name. They have the whole thing going on. With Russia here, we do not go by their laws. The things are not allowed here. The things that is allowed in other countries that is not allowed here is prohibited in Russia. Russia, once I'll say, they are very disciplined. They know what they want in that country. They do not want to impose your own rules on them. They don't want to controlling them. That is just it. You get me? So people may ask direct questions to you about your background, your culture. They're just curious about you. You being a foreigner in this country, whether you are Asian or you are African, they do not care. They just want to know, what? Oh, you're Indian. Look at your hair. Why is your hair so long? Why do you sense this way? What's going on? How do you feel this so? Oh my God. Tell me about your culture. Do you take spices? Do you eat spices? Tell me about this thing. They want to know about your culture. That's on period. Okay? And then another thing I'm going to tell you is the fact that as much as sometimes it can be very uncomfortable when people approach you and ask you about your background, especially if you are used to a different social norm. You understand? If you're used to an environment that the people don't speak to you directly, my dear, you have to just buckle up. It's gonna happen here when you locate here in Russia. Okay? And then you have to understand that even though they approach you directly, it can be blunt sometimes, but the bluntness, is not automatically hostility. It's not automatically that, okay? And then understanding cultural context changes the lens. Them understanding more about you, you understanding more about them, that causes a bond whereby you can make friends with them and they can make friends with you, okay? That's it. And then number 5 would be my personal conclusion. So in conclusion, I would say, like I've shared in my own previous video, I've said it. What I'm gonna say right now would be that I don't think Russia is uniquely racist, and I also don't think it is perfect. Okay, so you don't you can if I tell you Russia is not racist, you could come here and experience such. Like me, I have experienced 2 or 3 times racism or maybe even sexual harassment. It happens. I'm gonna speak about that in more videos coming soon, okay? And we won't traveling alone. You have to just know these things, okay? And then I'll say also that it is actually a complex country with regional differences, economical challenges, and strong national identity. Russia is a very, very strong country. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. You know what is going on online. You know the president, our president, is better than some of you presidents. I'm so sorry. You can't compare our president, President Putin, to Babati. What's that? Shemo Baptini. Tiny Bapti. Can't stand close to that. You can't stand.
Just a bat.
Bats. Why your president they be bats? I'm so sorry. I'm Nigerian, but guy. So I want to change that status aggressively. Aggressively, I should be a dual citizen of another country because whatever is going on in the politics in Nigeria, I don't understand it. Oh no, please. Let's not talk about that. Let's focus. So your experience there would likely depend. Your experience here in Russia will actually depend on where you are, the city where you live at, and the people around you. Okay, like most places it's just similar to most places in the world. There are cities where there's police brutality, and there are cities where that other issues and all. I actually believe that conversations like this, we need calm voices. We need people to share their honest review about their experience so far, not to discourage people from coming to Russia. Russia is peaceful so far, in my own knowledge, and that's on period. You could come to Russia and it's not peaceful to you. That is okay. You could leave. It doesn't. You can share your opinion in the comment section, okay? And some people give opinions about Russia. They comment about Russia and they haven't even seen the 4 corners of the airport. I'm sorry, but I just gotta be mean. You haven't seen the 4 corners of an airport before. You haven't traveled international before. You haven't even breathed the air of winter or even come to Russia at all for a vacation. Why the hell do you have an opinion of a country you know nothing about? You just see online. We're going to speak about a lot of things for you to understand more about Russia. Probably it's going to help you to change your perspective about the country. Okay? That's on period. Okay? So yeah. So if you appreciate, videos like this, discussions about global issues, discussions about Russia, living in Russia, and things for you to know, relocating to Russia, studying Russia, anything regarding Russia, this YouTube channel is literally for you. So stay tuned, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I remain your girl, Ogechi Amanda, and see you. Ciao and bye. This is Daniel.